Hello and welcome back to the show. Today feels like I feel rusty. I feel rusty at recording podcast shows because I feel like I haven't sat down at this microphone by myself and recorded a solo episode for months. And it's probably because I haven't, because I'm pretty sure the last time I did a recording, I think I might have done two or three in a row. I was on a ball and I was like, I'm just going to smash these out. And I did. So the last couple of times I've actually recorded, which feels pretty regular, has been with a guest because the second episodes of the month are with a guest. And it's really different when you're chatting with someone and you're just recording a conversation rather than sitting here talking to yourself. So yeah, I feel a bit rusty. I feel so rusty that I've actually already tried to record this 6 times. This is the seventh. And it's taking me, I don't even know now. I'm looking back at the time and I'm pretty sure it's been like 25 minutes just trying to get the introduction. And then I got not halfway through, but like a little bit through it. And it was just all fluff. So I stopped, had a little rest, and I'm going for the final attempt. So if you are someone who posts content on Instagram, especially stories, and you video 16 times before you actually get the real one, you are not alone. Try and stop doing that because it's a time waster, although I'm guilty right now of doing it. So I understand, but just keeping it real here, raw and real. I feel like that's sometimes it's really nice to hear that the people that you think are actually really good at this naturally also struggle and record things multiple times. So yeah, welcome to today's episode. We're actually going to be talking about a topic. I guess if this whole episode is titled The Importance of Expectation Setting. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because it's something that I've really noticed doing back in person work and being online. Like I really wanted to talk about the differences in what I've noticed about working in person and working online. And the common theme that was pretty much about everything that I've noticed is expectation setting. And I think it's something that is really, really important in being able to like provide a lot of clarity for your clients or your patients, but also being able to, I guess, um, just being really efficient and effective and building a really, really positive brand or reputation about your own business or your own service within someone else's business. Remember, I am a really big believer that if you are someone who wants to excel in your career, regardless of whether you are working for yourself or you are working for someone else, you really need to be implementing the same things because you need to provide value for that person's business in order to grow within your skill set, grow within the company and progress, but also I guess provide enough value that you can get paid more money, for example, be more senior, be a leader within the team, multiple reasons why. So yeah, I am a believer that it doesn't really matter what your title is, business owner, sole trader, clinician, first year out of uni, you need to implement these things if you want to do well. So moving on to the content of today, we're going to be talking about, I guess, the importance of expectation setting, because it is something that is, I think, extremely important when we are providing a high quality service. So I always kind of try and put myself in the position of, if I was going into someone else's business that I like, as in a client or a patient or a customer, and I had no idea about what that person did, what service they were doing, I just had this problem that I needed solved and I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't up on the knowledge or the lingo or whatever that might be. How much would that person need to tell me for me to have, understand what I'm getting myself into? And I think that's exactly what happens with our clients and our patients that come in. They may or may not have worked with an exercise physiologist before or someone similar to that or whatever your profession is. And if they actually have worked with another practitioner in the same industry as you, I actually feel like that is more problematic because they already have this level of expectation about the type of service, what they're expecting from the delivery, maybe how the service is structured and the commitment level, the pricing, everything. But if they haven't, they might have heard it from somewhere else, or they might just compare it to something similar. So I always feel like people put us in the physiotherapy category, osteo, maybe so much, probably more like physiotherapy because they would expect exercises and consultations. So I kind of feel like people come with this I want to say like this belief that, oh, this is what I'm getting myself into. I'm going to book an appointment. I'm going to go see them. They're going to give me things to do. I'm going to go away, practice them, book in for a couple more sessions, and then boom, that's probably what will happen. So I feel like there's this battle already for anyone to, I don't even know how to explain this, but it's like you have to already tear that belief apart and then teach them about what you're doing. And this is especially important if you're doing something different. So let me dive into this a little bit more. When I'm in online, I offer a very different service than in person. Most in common, general, like in what you would expect, I guess, as a client. I have most of my stuff is in programming blocks or 12-week commitment programs where it is quite intensive. We touch base regularly. It's emailed support. There's a lot of stuff involved in, I guess, working with me. So that might come across a little obscure for people because they're also thinking, well, I've seen an exercise physiologist before and I did a couple of consults and like she sent me off with a home program to do for 3 months or 2 or 3 months. And then like I came back after that, or like I had 2 sessions with them and they wrote me a program, or I don't know, whatever it might be. So they're already maybe like, this is a bit weird. But I also feel like the glory of the online space is that there is a lot of unknown about what I'm actually doing because it's so different. So when people are inquiring with me and I'm asking them like, do you have any questions about what I offer or would you like me to just explain it to you? They're usually like, I actually don't have any idea what to expect. So I'd really like you to just teach me about what you're doing. And for me, that's like, great. I don't have any of these awkward preconceived beliefs or ideas or expectations that I'm battling against because you're comparing me to a service that you have already been to or that you are somewhat aware of, or maybe you're expecting. So for me, it works really well. I'm like, sweet, I can like tell you all this stuff and it's like, cool, this is different, sign me up, whatever. But transitioning in person. Now, I'd like to make it clear that I do in-person work half a day a week at this health and wellbeing clinic that is really not regular and consistent and was purely for the purpose of me getting out into the local community, meeting other practitioners and also, meeting, seeing what the needs were in the local area with the intention of it just being that. I don't have really a lot of goals around growing that. I still do a lot of my stuff online. It's all basically online. So when I think about adding my service, like if I was to move into that full time, I would definitely be taking everything that I've built online, the service structure, everything would be going with me in person. But I do feel like the fact that I'm only there, weekly, and sometimes if there's no one booked in, I'll push people an extra week because I'm like, I'm not going to pay rent in the room for a whole day to see one person. So I'll push them to the third week where there's 2 other people booked in. So it's really hard for me to like kind of, I guess, build the same service structure and expect the people to commit when they only have that availability. So it is a little bit different. I haven't rolled it over into that, but if I was, I would be doing this. But I keep thinking to myself, if I actually was to build something in this area and build up a business that was based around the same sort of service delivery that I offer online, but in person, I would be battling a lot of expectation beliefs. So in so many ways, and in so many ways it's like the service structure, the level of commitment, the results that they would expect, things like how they do screening forms, the communication and the way that's delivered, the pricing structure, the payment structure, all the different things. So I wanted to talk about this because I actually think it's a really important part of your delivery, in a sense of providing really top quality care or a high level of service, but also being able to like really build trust with your clients. So one thing I think that works really, really well in the online space is the discovery call. And that is because I do this because one, it's almost a level of eliminating people who aren't committed. So if you don't want to do a discovery call with me, then I don't want to work with you, because it's going to, like, you don't even want to do the free call. So you're probably going to be a problem. The second thing is that it really gives me an idea about finding more information about that person before I see them. So I can almost be a little bit more prepared for their initial consultation, because I've already spoken to them and I've built some rapport with them. I'm not like seeing them in the initial consult and being like, oh, hey, I've never met you before. Who are you? Tell me what's going on. It's like I already actually know about them. So it kind of cuts out a lot of fluff in the initial consult. The other thing is to make sure that I can actually help them online and that they don't actually need in-person care or something different to me, but also so that they can ask questions and understand that, yes, I'm okay with doing this in virtual care and I like the idea of it and I'm ready. So it gives me a big opportunity. And I actually have offered that to quite a number of people in person, like, let's jump on the call first and discuss this. And it was more than just a phone call. I had the same thing, a Zoom call where we would jump into video call, what, it wasn't really a consult, it was a call, and chat about what the expectation is in a sense of how I deliver the service, what you get out of it, blah, blah, blah. And it worked really well for a couple of people. And then the others were like, sorry, can I just book an initial consult? And that, to me, I was like, wow, that's like, they just don't see the value in talking to me first, or it's not fitting into their schedule, or they just want to book right in right now. Like, it's such a different, it was so different. But I really still wanted to push this like discovery call, because it just provides so much value initially. And like, they don't even pay for it. So like, I think it's a win personally. But that also allows me to set the expectation of the service, which I also think is really important, because I can communicate exactly what they need to be doing when they're turning up for their initial information they need to be bringing. I can send them screening forms beforehand so they can do that all prior to arriving at the clinic. I can talk them through the level of commitment and what's expected, pricing structure, payment plan, or pay in full options, whatever the way is that you're delivering your service is a really great way to set that expectation before you even get them to commit. And if they're committed, if they say, yep, I'm in, they have committed, and you've got them for the exact amount of time that you need to see them. I have done work before in person, like a while ago, about where I was actually taught to talk someone through the treatment plan in the initial consultation. So they would come in and we would talk through, like, this is what we're going to work through. This is how many sessions we would need, blah, blah, blah. And in the initial consult, they were not sold on it. They did not want to do that. They weren't ready to be like coming fortnightly or weekly for however long that was to take this long to get results. So I was like, I've lost this person already. And it's like the first consult. And I mean, from a business perspective, as long as they're in, you're seeing them, they might come back. I don't know. I'm all about like, if you don't want to commit to something, I don't really want to see you because it makes me feel a bit crap if you bail out halfway through, or if I can't get you results because you're not committed enough and it's not really on me, then it's actually on them. So if you feel like that, I would really encourage you to try and do this. Set up something a bit earlier, or even if it's like an email that goes out that actually charts all of these expectations once they've booked their initial consultation, so that when they come in, they might have questions. Maybe you have an admin team and the administrative ladies can call them and discuss all of this over the phone or when they inquire. So I think setting up the expectation from day one or before day one, day zero, let's call it day zero, which is my discovery call, is so vital. It really shows exactly why your treatment works. It shows that you care enough about the person to deliver the service that is required to get them results. But then it also gives a lot of clarity about what you're doing. And I always go back to that example of, if you were the customer or if you were the client and you had no idea what you're getting yourself into, what pieces of information do you actually need in order to know like what to expect, or, what you might need to bring, or what you might need to prepare, or whatever that is. So that's your client. Your client is the person that's like never seen you before. They've never done exercise physiology. Maybe they have with someone different. I don't know. Maybe they have no idea about any of this and they've come in and they have They're just that person that seems a little bit like awkward and they have no idea. And you're like, why don't you understand any of this? Like, this is makes so much sense to you. But you have to really talk people through this stuff. So I think if you can find a way to have this level of expectation set initially, that will grow within the way your brand starts to develop in the area that you work. Word of mouth spreads with this, like those businesses where like your neighbor's been and done this business, or has like not done the business, sorry, but worked with someone and like, got their car serviced or whatever it was. And then they tell you about it and they're like, oh, she does it a little bit differently and they're a bit expensive, but they actually do all this cool stuff like blah, 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 blah. And it was great. I loved it. It was so good. It's like, that's the same thing. It's like you're doing something a little bit different to the other people. You're setting the expectation. You're really clear, and it builds this level of trust. They understand what to expect, and then they're not let down. They're not caught off guard. They're prepared. They know how much they're going to need to be prepared financially to commit time levels. How long is the program going to take every day? If there's homework, do they have to attend group classes? All the things. So think about everything that it might take for you to get this person from inquiry to you don't need me anymore, see you later. Or I don't know, staying on for long-term memberships and doing continual exercise if that's your business model. I think it's really important. I have noticed like so many things that you could include in this. Like, for example, communication method in person versus online was so different. Nobody was reading my emails. None. It was like, I think I actually had to reschedule one of the clients, something to do with the time that the clinic was open and I couldn't be in there. And I sent her like 3 emails and she wasn't replying. And normally I don't even really get mobile numbers because I don't like to give my mobile number out. I hate having business coming through at ridiculous hours or text messages on weekends from clients. It just absolutely kills me. I'm like, I'm going to check my emails in the hours that I would like to check them. And if I don't want to check them, I don't have to. And they're still sitting in my phone. Whereas like, when you get a notification on your phone or a text and it pops up on your screen, and if you don't open it, it's okay. But then you forget that it's actually there. That's a heart. And you like, it's the weekend. I don't want to talk to you. I mean, like I do, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. But there was no, like, I don't think I had a mobile number. I actually can't remember how I got her number. I have a feeling she was actually from one of the gyms and I had to actually get the gym to give me her number to tell her and send her a message and give her a call and say, hey, I actually won't be able to see you at this certain time. Can we change it? And she like wrote back and replied instantly. And then actually when I saw her in person, I said, do you read your emails? And she's like, oh no, I'm never on email. I just use my phone. Like I call, like that's how they're expecting to communicate with you. So for me, I was like, wow, if I work in person, I'm going to have to be really clear about the expectation of communication or your reminder email. Like everything is going to come through email. There's no texting, there's no WhatsApping or Facebook messaging or Instagram messaging. It's going to be through email. So they're going to need to be prepared for that. That is one thing that I was like, this expectation needed to be set early. So I didn't realize it was going to be a problem. Things like screening forms had to be done earlier. Like there was just so many different things that these are all things that initially this whole topic was going to be what I've noticed between in person and online, but it really just boiled down to setting the expectations of how you are going to deliver things and what that person needs to expect. So it's been a really interesting transition for me actually, because I know that a lot of you that listen here, most of you are actually in person and would be, I guess, dealing with a lot of the same things. And it might be that, you don't really see the problems in the service delivery if you're not doing it. So in-person problems, I don't come across often because I don't do it enough. But now that I'm in this in-person space a little bit, I'm like, oh, you know what? This is actually different to online. This is a problem here, or this isn't a problem, or this would be awesome if it was online versus in person. So there is quite a lot of difference. But yeah, expectation setting, cannot stress how important this is in every aspect. When to even see results and what to expect. Something that is really important in the pelvic health world, especially in the first block of programming, is what to expect between now or their first consult and the first follow-up. Because generally we're doing a lot of connection work and we're really trying to tap into what it feels like to connect to the pelvic floor, what it feels like to relax the pelvic floor. That is such a retraining exercise that realistically symptoms don't really change because the symptoms that they have are coming from a lack of really good function, and that takes a while to develop. It's a pretty bit of a slow process initially, and sometimes I'm like, okay, Jane, or whoever my initial consult, like whoever my client is, between now and the next consult, all I'm expecting for you to do is come back and tell me that the exercises that we've been practicing actually feel a little bit more natural and easier and flow better. That is it. So if you feel like symptoms haven't really shifted, if you feel like maybe the exercises still feel difficult, but they're a little bit better, that is okay. That is normal, because there have been times before I set these expectations that clients would come back after the first week and be like, nothing has changed. I still have all these problems. And I'm like, mate, there's a reason why it's 12 weeks of commitment. And there's a reason why we're only doing this connection exercise initially, and that we're not going to see results for a little bit. And it wasn't until I really realized I need to actually tell that to people straight away, because they're scared. They're not scared, sorry. They're worried. They're like, am I doing this wrong? I'm not seeing change. Like, should I be seeing change? And realistically, no. So, I mean, they'll have quick wins with other things, but generally not that. So that's something that I also, had to learn to do early. So I want you to think about all the things that maybe you're not communicating really well with your clients or patients or whatever it is, whoever you see, and really think about how you can improve that. Be really clear, set expectations, communicate it well, and see what changes with maybe the level of commitment, maybe the relationships that you build with and rapport that you build with your clients. I would be really interested to know maybe even what other things you do to help that, like that process with your in your workplace. So feel free to shoot me over an email or send me a message through Instagram, and I'd love to hear about it. But otherwise, go on your way and make a few changes. I think it will be highly valuable for you within whatever work that you do, but also for the business that you work for if you are working within someone else's business. So hopefully that little short episode today has given you some insight into a few things that might be really helpful for you. Thanks for being here again. Don't forget, if you really are enjoying the content within the show, I'd really appreciate a review or 5-star rating or a rating, and share this among your friends, colleagues, communities, whatever that might be, because ultimately the show will not grow unless people share it. So, share the love. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for being here. I hope you have a lovely day. I look forward to sharing more episodes with you in the future. I have some exciting ones coming up, so stay tuned for that. But otherwise, have a great day from wherever you are. Bye.